I gotta cut out another part of the Kelly. She always coming in chest first. Like we
That's
can't
fine.
never,
That's PG-13.
we can't never just.
My bad. Chest first.
That's what.
It's still PG-13. We're all right.
Cut me out. Nerd out. I don't know what to do.
We definitely don't stand over the camera.
Kelly, you have to sit down and then put your camera on.
All right, so when I come on, I'm gonna start turning my camera off. Just cut me out, man. Just cut me out.
That's all good. All right. We all set and ready.
I'm good.
What the hell is that?
Hmm?
Oh, that's you, Terry?
Oh yeah, I was just tapping my finger.
Oh, I was feeling it.
I thought the sound was fucking up. I'm like, what the hell? All right. Does somebody want to say it today? Anybody?
Boom shakalaka.
Top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Worst Ones podcast. We are a bunch of PKs, preachers' kids, who have came to share the gospel, the word of God, according to us and our theories. Because we don't know scripture. Let's be honest. We be just saying, like, don't it say in the Bible somewhere? My name is Rudy Wilson. Got Terry Weezy, Kellie Leezy, and Janessa Roleezy.
I got the worst name, Rudy.
I tried. How is everybody doing? Janessa, let's start with you. How art thou?
Thou art good. Busy day. Chris is moving out of his apartment to someplace else, so
Okay.
we've been moving all day. But other than that, life has been pretty good, so I can't complain.
Have you started back school?
Didn't you just move too?
I did.
Y'all need to settle down. Just settle.
I know.
Did school start back and all that?
School did start back, but still have my A because y'all know I'm on the honor roll, so got to keep that honor roll up.
Hey, I don't know if you was here when she announced that. Yeah, she was on the honor roll.
Yes, Terry. My school sent me an email saying I made it to the honor roll.
Well, I'm very proud of you, young lady.
She got a gold star and everything.
We will go to Chuck E. Cheese the next time I see you.
Exactly. So my family, we have family meeting on Sundays, and we just agreed in the family meeting that we're just going to say I was on the president's list.
There you go.
Because we were like, what school does honor roll for grad school? Like,
right,
what? Right. So in our family, I am on the president's list. So for this group as well, guys.
Well, no, you done it now.
I'm in the president's list, guys.
Did they give you like a bumper sticker to give your parents?
Nah.
They sent me like a little certificate in an email. And I forwarded that to my mother and said, and when in the description, it said, "Look, Mom, I made it."
Did you also get perfect attendance? Is that a thing?
No, I didn't get perfect attendance.
Oh man, gotcha.
But I'll let you know if they send something else in my email.
Mm-hmm. She logged in every day. Gotcha. Oh well, we're proud of you nonetheless. So that's what's
Thank you,
President.
Mm-hmm.
Terry Weezy, what's poppin'?
Oh, I had a terrible weekend.
Oh no!
Yeah, the Lord smited me, and my Tennessee Titans. Yeah.
Good game though.
No, it wasn't. It was a terrible game.
Did they play Kansas? Is that what everybody keeps talking about?
No, we played the Bengals, who we should have beat.
Oh.
We've beat Kansas City before.
I just heard everybody talking about the Kansas City game and something happened at the end. Something. I don't know.
No, there was a lot of craziness this weekend with football
with
games,
all the games, really.
Oh, okay.
Well, I want to plug Georgia Tech. Kansas City Chiefs kicker is Harrison Buckner, and he was the Georgia Tech kicker when I was there. He saved our butt several times, and he saved Kansas City Chiefs butt this past weekend.
Hey, listen, she gonna find a way to have Georgia Tech shit on UGA.
That's right, because y'all swear UGA is like this all great.
Wait, I don't know how this changed. I was in mourning, and now it's about Georgia.
Yeah.
No, it's about Georgia Tech. It's about Tech. We have excellent football players too. Okay, that's it. Proceed.
Gotcha.
Not compared to the NFL, you don't.
Yes, we do. We have
no, you don't. Only about 2% of all college players can ever play in the NFL.
But we got some in there. That's all that matters.
That he was the kicker.
But they all come from college football, right? All the players in NFL.
Yeah, but that's how hard it is to get into the NFL.
Gotcha. Only 2%. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, there's also way more colleges and college players than there are NFL teams. So even just skill wise and even just percentage of chance wise, it's it's just really, 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 really slim.
You've got to be just top tier to make the NFL.
Yeah.
Same with the NBA.
Yeah, any professional sports for that matter. But okay, nonetheless, I mean, Terry.
No, not professional bowling. You can just pretty much walk on if you're good. So.
That's true.
Don't they make money though?
They do. They do make big.
It's just not a billion college bowlers. You know what I'm saying? I guess in comparison to like college football players and whatever. So, anyways, but Terry, was that it for you? I didn't want to cut off how the rest of your weekend.
The rest of the time, I've just, like I said, been in mourning.
Gotcha.
We were supposed to go all the way this year. I was upset.
So
were you also a Houston Oilers fan by chance?
No. Tennessee never had a team, so when they came to Tennessee, I was instantly a fan.
Gotcha. No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So was this weekend in football have something to do with because the Super Bowl is in a couple weeks?
Yeah, it's coming.
This was the playoffs. It was the divisional round.
Gotcha. Okay. Clearly, I'm totally lost. Gotcha. Okay. And so, is there another game that then decides who plays in the Super Bowl?
Correct. It's one more game and then the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's one more game, then a bye week, then the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, the Pro Bowl.
So there's 2 games.
A bye week is everybody gets off.
It's only one game left to determine who's going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, so we already know one team who's in the Super Bowl.
No. There's 2 games.
There's 2 games.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's 2 games. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I didn't realize you meant 2 games like that. I thought you meant like 2 more weeks of games.
Oh, no. Like, no, there's 2 games to decide who's in the Super Bowl.
Correct. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes.
Gotcha.
But how are you, Kelly? How's did we find out anything with the trainer? Is that a thing?
Oh, so I ended up going for my last session. So I did go back for one more session. We didn't really address anything.
Y'all worked out in silence.
Right? I did at the end give my I guess kind of goodbye speech. And I was just like, thank you for, all that you've done for pushing me. I know we fought and argued, blah, 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 blah. So it ended up well, but then, you know what? I'm in a mood today, and that may be part of my mood too. I forgot about going all the way back to the beginning of my day. So at the beginning of my day, somebody sent me an article. So she did like a local online magazine article, here in Georgia, and super proud of her. Congratulations. But she used my picture. She used my weight loss picture in her article.
The trainer
did, yes. My trainer.
So this mood is about the trainer, but you wasn't even thinking about that whole thing, is what you're saying.
No. The mood is about something else, but I forgot that my trainer may have figured all of this first thing this morning when I saw the article, and I saw my picture in it, and she didn't ask me if she could use my picture in her article.
Gotcha.
And isn't that like illegal or something to use somebody's stuff without asking them?
Yeah, you could sue technically.
Yeah, so that kind of, and I'm like, she's still a pain in my butt, and we don't even train anymore. And here she is still. Like,
wait, did she take the pictures or did you take the pictures?
it was my picture, so I posted it on Instagram.
Oh, and she took it and used it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could sue for that.
Yeah. And it wasn't her weight loss. Like, I lost 50 pounds, but I lost 40 pounds before I even met her. So that's part of my issue. Like, she
talk that talk, Kellie Lee.
So that may have been the start of my day. I forgot about that. But yes, no, I did go back for my last training session. We, like I said, we really didn't address it. But yes, and then I've had a personal roadblock that happened today that I'm still trying to process and unpack. So that's a part of why I'm in this mood. But I'm here.
Amen. All right. Well, I'm chilling. Nothing drastic has happened with me, good or bad. It's still old root scoot out here in these streets. Yep, that's it. All right, let's get into the podcast.
Where are you?
I'm in Jacksonville.
Okay.
You don't recognize the porch? This is mine. Jacksonville background. This is the porch, the patio, I should say. But so Janessa, I guess this will be. I'll pass the ball to you since this was a topic that you came up with.
Sure. I still don't have.
I'll just show you how I worded it. You could.
Yeah, I was about to say because I still don't have the way to word it. Sure, we'll go.
I know that's what you kind of said in the gist, like.
Yeah. So the topic of the day, or what Rudy has come up with, is how long do we affect our parents? And so how I got to this topic is maybe 2 days ago at this point. I think Lord, her name's slipping my mind already. Cora Jakes Coleman announced on Instagram that she was getting a divorce.
This is T.D. Jakes' daughter, Bishop T.D.
Yes, Bishop T.D. Jakes' daughter, one of his daughters. And
for those of us who don't know who that is.
Yes, because there may be people who don't know who Bishop T.D. Jakes is.
Do you know who he is, Terry?
No. Nope.
Quick Google search.
You're gonna make the listeners Google search once you say it.
No. I was talking about you.
Oh,
but
okay.
no, I mean, no, he's a really famous preacher. Really famous black preacher.
Very, very famous. So, anywho, of course, there are all these think pieces, videos. Instagram, Twitter for sure went crazy. Everybody's talking about it, and it got me just to thinking, like, Cora is a grown adult, and why are people so pressed about it? And it got me to thinking, like, well, if this was, the manager at Dairy Queen up the street, if she was getting a divorce, would anybody care? Mm-hmm. And the only reason I really feel like people care is because she is the daughter of T.D. Jakes.
Right.
And so that kind of got me to thinking about, like, how long do PKs, like, our decisions, are they reflective of our parents? Is it forever? How long do we affect our parents?
Is there an expiration where our decisions only are held to our accountability, not because not you did it and you're also such and such's child?
Correct. Because then it also got me to thinking about, like, just parenting. Our decisions that children make but adult children make it's not maybe something that you agree with or whatever. Is that a reflection of your parenting? And so those were just kind of some thoughts that came in my head, so I didn't really have a way to frame it, but yeah, we can talk about all of it today.
Gotcha. It was something else. Wasn't it something else that you said at the end as far as like or that's still as far as reflective on the parents? It's you were saying, let me just look real quick. You were saying that she was married 11 years, 2 children came from the marriage. Are having children out of wedlock and divorce poor reflection of our parents. So yeah, so it's still going back to reflection of the parent. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to go first? Or?
Well, I'll start briefly and say, we know we've talked openly about how I feel in terms of what I do, how it impacts, how I feel it impacts my family, my
Right.
parents. In your question, in terms of is there an expiration date? I say no. TD Jakes is this world-known pastor, and so people talk about it on Twitter and social media and whatever. But for the minor pastor kids in that community, in that church community, no, it's not an expiration date at all. They're always going to say that so and so's daughter, that so and so son, that did this.
Do you think that's just a church community thing, or do you think that's just people? Because on the flip side, if that was Kevin Hart's daughter, or or Jerry Seinfeld's daughter, or whoever, like it would be. I think they would get the same scrutiny. Because
actually, there's a great.
Hold on one second, Terry, before you say it's because you're somebody's daughter. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that's necessarily pinned on the church community and how Christians sort of say gossip. I just think that's just humans. Like when you have that attachment, Lori Harvey, anybody, whatever, it's always that you wouldn't be getting this recognition if you weren't whoever's daughter. You know what I'm saying? With some type of position. Go ahead, Terry. I'm sorry.
I was actually just going to jump in there and say there's a perfect example of this. Lawrence Fishburne's daughter did a porno.
Right.
And it was all over the place. That's
right.
People were talking about it.
Right.
You didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
But if she wasn't, but there's plenty of daughters doing porn. You know what I'm saying? Doing porn every day. But it's Lawrence Fishburne.
Pretty much, they're pretty much all daughters.
Right. I mean, they're all somebody's daughters. Right.
That's the point that I'm making. Like
in their little community, somebody may be talking about it, but I think we talked about it before that just pastors are held to a different standard. And so they expect for children to be held to a different standard. And then when I feel like you pull in that parenting piece in terms of, is it reflection of poor parenting? As a pastor, we've talked about that a lot of times they're the ideal, the model. They're put on this pedestal. So your parenting practices must be perfect. And then if your child is doing porn or, getting divorced or having babies at a wedlock or whatever it is, curse, drink, smoke, then
I think those things are very different, but go ahead.
I was given a wide range of things. The church may see it as a poor reflection of parenting. When you see Lori Harvey jump from man to man to man, I don't have she sees Harvey's stepdaughter. I mean, all right.
What I'm saying is, but it wouldn't be a story without him.
Correct.
In his position.
I mean, right. But I think it's a story regardless. Like, if it was even if it was 2-3 people, aunties and uncles talk about, Joseph's daughter, such and such and such and such.
Right. But that level of scrutiny is way easier to not care about than if you are TD Jakes.
I don't know if it's not to not care about, but it's less than it is if you're TD Jakes.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I say it's a lot easier to not care about than
I don't think it's not care about though, because I even think about me on a minor scale. I care regardless. You know what I'm saying? See, you don't. I'm saying I do.
But I'm on a more minor scale than you. That's my point. So I'm saying,
but you don't care. Period.
No, what I'm saying is because I feel like that expiration date comes with them. Like TD Jakes and Cora has to not care. You feel what I'm saying? Like it's because people are gonna always have something to say about you, whether you know it or not. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like I guarantee you, all of us have been in somebody's group chat. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody has talked about, because that's just what people do.
Right.
So I'm saying, but for me, I bring this up all the time. I feel like because my environment is a lot on a smaller scale than you all, especially with you, Kelly. I feel like that makes it easier for me to not care because because once again, if I was TD Jakes' son, I feel like I might care more. You feel what I'm saying?
Because I feel like you've come as if it don't bother you. You know what I'm saying?
But I've never dealt with a famous parent, is what I'm saying. So I can't really sit here and say boldly like I wouldn't give a fuck with my daddy, because even Cedric Entertainer has a joke about it. Barack Obama was good that he had daughters, because if he had a son, it would have been too much to live up to, because you can't be Barack Obama Jr. and walking on the back of your shoes at Walgreens in the middle of the night, or doing he just named different things, like, so, because that's a standard because of who your father is. And granted, my father's a great man, but he has no notoriety in the world to make me second guess, if I do this, how would this affect his brand? You feel what I'm saying? Like, so that's never been my reality. So I feel like that makes it easier for me to have this position that I have. But if I was on the other side, it may be different. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't care, but maybe I would care a lot. I don't know.
Well, it's like the Kardashian thing. It's not just, it started out with just Kim, but then all of them had to reflect the brand, Right. And it is kind of a sickness, because you don't get to live with any kind of sense of freedom. And yeah, I mean, it does kind of stick with you. I think with church, with church members, especially pastors' kids, yeah, you do reflect on them, and it never really goes away as long as they have a congregation. But I think that's more of an illness of the church than it is, anything else, because I distinctly remember there was always a lot of gossip, always a lot of henpecking, especially when it came to the, not even the pastor's family. They were obviously more so, but even the elders in the church, deacons, or whatever, anybody of notoriety, because I think it just goes back to the old saying, when you hold a certain position, somebody's always going to want to knock you down and replace you. With kids, I don't really think it matters. I think it just shows that uglier underbelly of any organization, but it's definitely prevalent in the church.
I mean, technically, even if your parents aren't pastors or have any type of position, they always feel like you're a representation of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you go out, especially when you're a child. As an adult, I don't know, people's relationships change with their parents as an adult, but especially as a child, like if you go to school, like my dad actually just talked about it. If you go to school and like you act up, and your parents get the report that you act up, like, that's embarrassing to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it make them feel like my kid don't know how to act. I didn't teach my kid, whatever. But if you come and you get your son is great, your daughter is fantastic, they're well behaved, pay attention, they don't disrupt. That's honor to that, to that parent. So regardless, I think parents, I mean, none of us are parents that we know of, I guess, at least, but we maybe we don't know how a parent would feel in that representation, whatever, but I feel like outside of church, outside of any type of celebrity, whatever, I feel like parents definitely always feel that whole representation thing when it comes down to how their kids act. And I think that, to Kellie's credit, even when how you speak about like your fear about like your dad seeing you be a certain way or whatever, I think that's because what his expectation or what he would desire, and so we try to hide anything that doesn't look like that, because it goes back to them and their, I guess, approval, or them,
it goes back a lot further than
them improving that representation of how they raise their child, grown or young.
It goes back a lot further than that, because we're just talking about a woman getting divorced, are we not?
That's where it just kind of stemmed from, but it could be applied to more things.
I mean, look, if you're talking about something more serious, somebody gets, arrested on some felony charges or just something outlandish, that might be a story we're talking about. But like, just some broad getting divorced, like who cares, in this day and age, like
everybody, That's
most
why
marriage, no. I think people like to use it as a way to judge people that they always thought were better than them, and then subconsciously they're like, see, you're just as big as garbage as me. Your kids have problems too.
Sure.
Yeah, but who cares? Honestly, if it was a church member who was getting a divorce, yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit, but not to this extent. Right. Because it's always about tearing somebody down. But
people like me and you, Terry, may not care in reference to like anybody getting divorced, whether they whoever's daughter they are or not. But the masses, like to your point, they're waiting on something like that to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like not necessarily, not that somebody was necessarily waiting on her specifically, but just that scenario in general. You know what I'm saying? Like, because people do prey on people's downfalls. But I do have a question for y'all. What about in the reverse? Like our parents' decisions and their reputations and the things that they do. Does that it affecting us? Does that matter in the reverse?
100%. Yeah, I had to go through a situation in the church when I was younger where literally me, my mom, my sister, we all got basically punished because of something that went down with my dad. You know, people I'd known my whole life just kind of put the hand out and just turned their back on us. You know, so yeah, I mean, people can be really, really vicious when it comes to this kind of stuff. And again, it is a fault in them. It's, you know, if a woman in biblical times was to, you know, commit a crime, get divorced, and they were throwing stones at her to stone her to death, the people throwing the rocks are way worse than the person getting hit by them, you know?
Right.
And I think God himself said that, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it, out of curiosity, can you share what happened when y'all got into or whatever?
The day that I'm ready to do that, we will have a whole episode dedicated to it. How about that?
Gotcha. Oh, so yeah, go ahead.
To your question, Rudy, I think it does, because to the same point that you said about kids, when our parents do great things, it's always a good thing to be such and such as daughter or such and such as son. And you know, I've never been in a situation where my parents have done something crazy where I've had to either, you know, defend them or stand with them or not stand with them. So I don't know exactly. You know, I think the logical side of me is like, of course, if they did something wrong, like it's wrong. But
is divorce wrong?
Huh?
But is divorce wrong? Or is that just a leftover remnant of a puritanical society?
Well, I think divorce is in the Bible, and I all I can do is present the Bible. I can't argue the Bible.
I like how we keep some things from the Bible, but we leave the rest out.
So, but to answer your question, Rudy, I don't know. Like for if a negative situation, you know.
But I'm saying, I guess, like, before even going to Kellie, like, should they make decisions based on like considering us the same way we have to make decisions considering them? Is what
as an adult or as a child?
General, just either both.
I think as a child they should consider, because you know what is always what's good for an adult is not good for a child, and so I just really think when you have kids involved, you should think about what's good for the child. Now on the adult level, I mean, I feel like everybody's individuals at that point. Now, will society still see you as a collective? Probably, but that's something you're gonna have to work out with God and your therapist. Because I really think, like, even for the Cora situation, especially at this point, you know, TD Jakes been TD Jakes for a while. I'm sure her and her family have dealt with stuff for a while. I'm sure she knew this was going to, be the backlash or the hoopla that it is. And kind of like you said, Rudy, earlier, she might not care. For her, it might, it just might be like, it is what it is, to her. So
I have an interesting question. All the notoriety that she's under because of who her father is, how much do you think the stress of that actually may have contributed to the divorce in the first place?
It's hard to say. I don't know why they got divorced, so I don't.
It ain't easy being cheesy. You know what I mean?
But I know we talked about before in a previous podcast about I can't remember the exact wording, but something about dating preachers' kids and and what that looks like. And so I'm sure I don't even know who her husband is. First of all, anywho, I don't even know who her husband is, but I'm sure that there was a lot of, like you said, scrutiny that came along when he dated her, when he asked her to marry her, when they got engaged, that depending on who his parents were, he probably wasn't exposed to, didn't understand, didn't know prior to. I warn guys now. I've never brought anyone to church, not in my adult life.
Right.
But, I warn guys now, like, hey, I couldn't have a antisocial, keep to himself, type of guy. Because when you step into that sanctuary of Berean, baby, you're gonna have to turn it all the way on. And you're gonna have to smile and wave, and they're gonna come and they're gonna speak, especially because I've never brought anyone there, and so if that was something that her husband wasn't accustomed to, definitely can see that playing a role in their marriage. Also, and this is something that I feel like I will struggle with, which is why I'm trying to kind of break out of it, hopefully before I get married, is how much how much of what am I trying to say? How the impact that the church has on me. So how much that my decisions my decisions are impacted by who my family is in the church, which I know can impact my relationships, impact my marriage. And so that's something, and again, appreciative of the podcast of even bringing it to my attention, because really prior to this, I never really thought about it. But the strongholds that I have on my life by being a preacher's kid, and how much my father's approval matters to me, my mother's approval matters to me, making sure that I don't mess up their name matters to me. That matters to me, but it's not going to matter to him. It matters to him because it matters to me, but then what does that look like in our marriage? So I think there's a lot of different factors that, like you said, her being this, like I said, mega pastor's daughter, husband, could have played a role in that marriage. And even, this is off topic, but on topic, but I just looked through her Facebook page or her Instagram page, and she just said that she was divorcing 2 days ago. But if you look at her Christmas picture, it's only her and her 2 kids. So she kind of hinted at it without hinting at it, a few months back, or a month or so back, because people are investigative and detectives and all things on Instagram, and I'm sure thoughts started to fly and talking started to go then, like, oh, her husband is not in her Christmas pictures. That's strange. But the fact that she didn't say it then, I'm gonna plant this seed for y'all, and then I'm gonna come a month later and tell you.
Right.
Yep, what you've been talking about is true. So no, I definitely feel like who her father is impacted in some way. How, like you said, we don't know why she got divorced or what the issue was, but I can definitely see that impacting even me on a minor level. I got to figure out how to navigate that.
Well, as far as the picture goes, you always have a separation period before, you actually decide to get divorced. I think I can say that with confidence as the only divorced person here. But, to me, what disturbs me more than anything else is not this particular person. It's just why this always matters so much to people. you know. Oh, did you hear about such and such's son? Oh, did you hear about this and that? It's just gossip's the worst thing that ever happened to any organization, but it's definitely the worst thing that ever happened to a church.
And I think it goes back to what Rudy said earlier. I think that, and I'm gonna add on a little, but I think that, like we talked about, they put pastors and their families on this pedestal. And so when the pastor or the children or whoever has a flaw or shows their flaws or something is wrong, then you're just like me. Oh, it stank just like everybody else. Because I've experienced that. I think I told y'all one time I went to the front doing altar call and cried, and the media minister recorded it, could pull it up months later. Like, oh yeah, I remember that. I mean, this was months later because I didn't even live in Georgia at the time. And I think I was for Christmas and then came back home for the summer. And he was like, oh yeah, you remember at Christmas when you cried and went to the altar and you hugged your dad? Oh yeah, let me pull it up real quick on the film. Here it is. Yeah, we were all thinking, no. I had just moved back. So that must have happened Christmas or so when I had just moved back to Atlanta. That summer. And he was like, yep, here it is. See, we were all saying Pastor Kevin stuff just like everybody else. Look at Kellie. She probably pregnant and something about some guy. Got to be about a man. She crying like that.
On drugs and everything else. And they
listen. And at that moment, I said, I didn't say it to them, but in my mind, I said, now that I am back in Atlanta, I cannot attend on a regular basis.
That was the day your Instagram got on private. She was like,
and it's never coming down. Because I'm like, why 8 months later can you readily pull up a recording of me going to
that's wild.
Really? just so you can say that there has to be something wrong with Kellie. Yeah. So does it make you feel better?
Yeah.
Yes.
It does. Yeah, it does.
It wasn't about a man. It wasn't. I don't even know what it was about.
Probably it's about being a human being, and human beings love to spill the tea. That's just what it is.
But when there's no tea to spill, they just make it up.
If they have to. Yeah.
I have one for y'all. I don't know if I told the story, but we were dancing my church back in the heydays for a Christmas recital. And it was me and two other ladies doing this dance. And y'all, I dislocated my knee in the middle of the dance. And I dislocated my knee and collapsed. And didn't move, couldn't move. And so, everybody's coming over with spirit hands like this. They thought I was slain in the spirit, y'all. They thought I the spirit had just overcome me and I had just laid. And so at church, at my church, you can carry on for a little bit. But this was a Christmas play. Like it was like we were a dance, and then it was act 2, and then a dance or whatever. So after the curtains closed, they were like, come on, Janessa, this is not our church. You got to come up. They were like, I know, Holy Spirit, all this, but all of it, you know how they do it, right? And I'm over here like, y'all, I can't move. Like my knee, they were like, what's wrong? I was like, I can't walk. Like I'm in pain. They were like, what? And so this is the kicker. We had, like I said, there was like a acting portion. And then we were supposed to come back. We were supposed to change outfits and come back for another dance. So 4 men had to carry me off the stage. And in my head, I was like, I can still dance. And my dad is in the back. And he was like, okay, like he knew I couldn't do it. But he was like, oh, okay, go ahead, change your clothes. I took one step on my bad knee and went to the floor. Wow. Like I could not walk. And so, of course, they're calling an ambulance and all this stuff like this. And in the meantime, my dance team ministry, they're having to change the dance like in 2 minutes because they got to go back up. But of course, when I'm not up there, where's Janessa? Oh, she must have been laid out in the spirit. The Holy Ghost must have just consumed her. She couldn't even dance again. You know what I mean?
That conviction was on her.
It was all of these things, right? It was all of these things. In reality, I was on my way to Emory. I had dislocated my knee. I had to sit out of school for a semester. I couldn't walk. Like it was a bad injury. But let the church folks tell it.
She did look like she was a little high. Like I see something in her eyes that just didn't seem. Or was she pregnant? I thought I saw like
Dehydrated.
all this. Like right, she was drunk all last night, and so she was dehydrated this morning. It's unbelievable.
You see how she ran up on Darius' father?
Right. He was aggressive.
He's been a thug now.
Right.
Podcast is over.
Oh
no, but that's the thing. I forgot what we were talking about. But no, I feel like I don't remember.
Kelly, what I was going to ask you, did you ever answer about the reverse, like our parents affecting us? Like, is it just as important?
I was trying to think of like in my
Position.
Yes and no right now. So because like I can't go to work, I can't run into anyone who doesn't know my family in Atlanta. Right. And so it's hard for me to, I mean, I've been at a 5K race, and it's something come right, like just random, and it comes up.
People 5K race in the middle of the woods. You're girl, right?
And something comes up, or I was having a conversation with somebody, and just mentioned Marine and blah blah blah, and that was my dad. And, oh my God, like it's a celebrity. And so I think it would. Now I'm gonna stand by my father, 1,000%. I'm gonna stand by my mama 1,000%. Whatever happened, unless they do something to each other, then I'm gonna have an issue. But otherwise, I'm gonna stand by him. But I do think that because I get so much recognition being their child, for them to do something, and all the people who know that that I work with or whatever, that I am their child, would make me feel some type of way. Like, really, daddy? Like, I needed you to, my expectation for you as well was to be this person.
Right.
So I definitely feel like I would have, a piece of that. Now, like I said, I'm gonna stand by him, 1,000%. But I definitely feel like it. And then when you talk about, the senators, the Congress people, the presidents, the vice presidents, whatever, what their parents do most definitely impact them, because when they start to go and dig and try to figure out the dirt, they're definitely going and looking at your parents. And so it is pretty crappy if I wanted to go into this field, whatever, politics, whatever, and then my parents actions impacted me directly with not being able to get this job or not being able to get this seat or or whatever. So I definitely feel like that there is some responsibility on parents to think about their children as they live. Because one, I didn't ask to be here. Like, I'm happy that I'm here
for sure,
but but I didn't ask for this. Y'all did this. And so there's definitely a responsibility that I feel like parents have to their children. Now, live your lives, you're grown, you whatever. I can't control you, but I do think there's a responsibility.
But do you think the responsibility is equal? Like, is our responsibility as far as for their reputation more than their responsibility for ours, or is it the same?
No.
Should it be the same?
It's not the same. No, it's
I'm
if
saying,
you're a parent.
Should it be? Like, even if it's not right now.
I know. I'm answering no. Okay. No, it shouldn't. It should never. When you decide to have a child, you're taking on debit, right? And that debit's going to last you for a minimum of 18 years if you're a piece of garbage, but should be lasting the rest of your life. And that's your choice to do. That is your decision to make. You chose to have kids. If I buy I don't even think it's, it's like if I buy a dog and the dog shits in the house, how much can I really blame the dog? The dog's just being a dog. Yeah. Maybe I didn't take it out enough. Maybe I didn't feed it the right food. Maybe I shouldn't have got it if I wasn't prepared for this kind of thing. But it's never on the dog.
I agree.
I agree.
It's because I'm making good points.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. But I'm saying I agree as far as like with the whole like dog situation.
I think,
but in reference to
Go ahead.
Well, I'm saying, but in reference to like them making decisions, because see, of course, if just say like if you're Raven Simone's parents, right, and she's a child star, then of course those parents definitely are thinking about their child's reputation because their child is the TD Jakes of the situation, if you will. You feel what I'm saying? But if your parent is the TD Jakes, if TD Jakes just say get caught smoking crack somewhere, will people then look at Sarah Jakes, Roberts and Cora the same way we're looking at him when they do something wrong?
Nope. Because there's no good feeling, because then they're looked at as victims, and there's no good feeling about tearing down a victim. At least not anymore.
What do you mean? Who looked at as victims?
Well, if, like you said, if he gets caught smoking crack somewhere, people will naturally feel bad for his family, unless they're smoking crack with him, I guess. But they'll naturally feel bad for his family, which makes them the victims of the situation. And you don't tear down victims. What you do is you take somebody's personal business and you use it to tear down somebody in that limelight, somebody that chose it. The same way we talked about Lawrence Fishburne, he's the one that chose to be an actor. He's the one who became famous. If it wasn't for him, nobody would care. She'd just be another girl making a porn, you know. You have to use that to tear down the one on the pedestal, which is what I said, Kelly, not Rudy. But go ahead.
My apologies.
Misquoting me all the time.
My apologies.
Well, you're always getting on me about the biblical scriptures, so this is my turn. I think there's a bigger conversation to be had about how parents' decisions affect. I think we should just roll that part of the conversation into next week, and then maybe I'll tell you my story.
So if you want to tell the story, we'll just make it about that because it's not really much more to talk.
It definitely ties into that topic, though. That's what I'm saying. So.
But what I'm saying is, I don't think there's much more to talk about besides your story on the topic. Is what I'm saying. Like I think your story would just be the icing on the cake. Because other than that, I think we've come to the agreement that whether it should or shouldn't, the actual fact is our parents, unless you are the celebrity or whatever as the child and your parents are just normal. Outside of that scenario, your parents' decisions aren't as, I guess, important, if you will, when it comes down to how it affects us as it is when we make decisions and how it makes them look. I think that's what we're all agreeing to. Yes, I'm assuming.
But yeah,
nobody's answering. Yes.
No, I just trying to stick on the current subject, which is like what we do. How long should we be in the fish tank just because of who your parents are? You know what I mean? And that's kind of goes to what I was saying about the woman's marriage, and how maybe the notoriety of her father's chosen career, or calling, as it were, would affect her marriage, because you are in the fishbowl and nobody likes being in the fishbowl. And
it's a possibility. We just don't know if she got divorced for, so we can't really definitively say it has something to do with.
Oh no! I'm not saying that. I'm sure it didn't help, but but no, I'm just saying why? We all get one go around in this life, and we get to do whatever we want to with it. Mm-hmm. If your father was a lab scientist and came up with a cure for a disease, does that mean you have to live up to that expertise or to that high circumstance? No, because nobody gives a shit. So,
I don't know if it's necessarily about living up to do the same thing that your father did, as opposed to that does make you look good as the child. Like, oh, my father was.
Yeah, but I'm talking about how long we affect them. So it's like, does that take away from his accomplishments if I get arrested and go to prison?
You got to go back for a second. You froze for a second.
I was saying that, because the topic is how long should we have an effect on our parents, and I'm going to say 18. Once you become an adult, this is your life. You know what I mean? Nobody gets to tell you what to do with it. Nobody, not even God. That's why we have free will. You get your choices and you get to answer for them. That's what life is.
But that doesn't negate the fact that if you have a celebrity parent or somebody with some type of notoriety or whatever, that doesn't mean that the scrutiny is not going to happen. Even though you should, once again, because I think it is case by case, and you as the person, you have to decide how you're going to deal with it. But people are still going to be people.
That's right.
Church and outside the church, and they're going to be like, okay, boom, look, Kelly, I still got this video from back in the day. Like Kelly want to be the lady in the dress and get remembered.
Listen,
I know.
Instead, she got remembered for the
going to
when she was in worship because they thought she was on crack and prostituting because she was in worship and had to hug her dad.
Child.
Listen, I know what you're saying, but I'm still sticking by that. I would rather just live my life and not worry about the people with rocks in their hands.
I'm with you.
You know what I mean?
I'm with you. That's me all day.
To me, it's do what you do, live your life, try to be a good person. And if somebody wants to try and tear you down, fine. Because when you have an argument, let's just say with two people, when two people are fighting with each other, let's say in a group of friends, in a workplace, something like that, somebody's going to say some shit behind the other person's back. The other person's going to say some shit behind their back. And that's going to go back and forth until one of them decides not to be the asshole. Mm-hmm. So as long as you're not instigating it, as long as you're not attacking, right, then eventually everyone else in the situation, everyone else around it is going to look and say, oh, well, this guy won't stop talking shit, and this guy hasn't said anything about it. So eventually they're going to go, oh, this guy's an asshole. And that's my advice. Just don't be the asshole. It's just that simple. Don't be holding a rock waiting for somebody to stumble so that you can throw, stones at them. That's the real poison of it. And it hurts your own heart a lot more than it hurts that person. Those people making that comments about that woman getting divorced, trust me, that's putting a lot more weight in their boots than it is in hers. I guarantee you that.
But at the same time, misery needs company, so it may not be. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody wants to.
Misery loves company, but that doesn't work in this situation.
But I'm saying, but it does though, because to Kelly's point about her in the video, like now that I know this person who I thought had a perfect life doesn't, I'm now more comfortable. That's just like I remember, like,
well, that's insecurity.
But I'm saying, but that's still misery wanting that company, especially from somebody who you don't think would ever be in the same company of misery with you. You feel what I'm saying? Because I know for sure.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Hold on one second, Terry. When I was in school and they pass out like the spelling test or whatever it is, like if I failed it or whatever the case may be, as long as there was other people who failed it with me, I ain't gonna fuck. But if I was the only one who got the F, like I'm sick because I'm like, whatever. So so I just know people naturally want that. Yeah. That's why people love Shade Room and Gossip This and whatever. Like people build brands off of tea, spilling tea and all this stuff because that's what people want. You want to know somebody else's business so you can talk about it and give your opinion about it and scrutinize it.
There's a word for it. It's called insecurity.
Yeah.
It's insecurity. You're not secure. You're not proud of yourself. You're not happy with yourself. You look at yourself with a diminished amount of self-worth. And so then you see somebody else that maybe you admire them. Maybe you even idolize them. But as soon as they stumble, you go, oh, thank God, you're garbage too. Perfect. Let me spread this around as much as I can so everybody knows that you're just as much garbage as me.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's dragging people down to your level.
Nobody likes to see anybody win too much. That's why that's why people hate Tom Brady's and LeBron James's and whoever. Like anybody, once you see somebody winning too much, they like, man, fuck this person. Like I want to see I want to see them lose now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm tired of this person winning. Nobody likes, even if you think about, even a lot of times, even with celebrities, especially in the black community, like like Tyler Perry on the rise, everybody loved him. The moment he started like doing big shit and whatever, any movie he make, well, you got all that studio and the wig space, you got like, they don't give a damn about nothing else because now I want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna be on your ass now because like you supposed to be this big whatever, but but you know what I'm saying? So like that's just what people do. And the point that I'm making is, you as the individual, and Terry, I know you said this as well, you as the individual have to decide how you're going to handle whatever that looks like for you in your situation. It may be on a larger scale, maybe on a smaller scale, but that's something that you have to decide. I don't know if I can tell anybody how to deal with it in their situation because I'm only in my situation. You know what I'm saying? And I know what I deal with. I know how much I care or not care. But that's just me. But once again, if I was elite,
I think you hit the nail on the head with the Tom Brady analogy.
If I was a Wayne, if I was a whoever, you know what I'm saying, maybe my care would be higher because out of necessity. Like, oh man, like I don't want to mess up your brand deal or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But because that's not my reality, I think it gives me even more freedom to not have any fucks to give because I already don't, and then I already don't have another reason that affects my parents that I should. You know what I'm saying? So it makes me not even more.
Wow. I think you hit the nail on the head with the Tom Brady thing because gossips in the church are the OG haters. Always have been. And I mean, going back hundreds, if not thousands of years before there was a Christian church. Like there has always been that. You can go back to pagan times, and wherever you gather a bunch of people regularly, there will be some tea spilt on the normal. Did you hear what Commodus did? Ooh, you know.
It's funny hearing you guys say tea.
It's funny hearing Terry say tea spilt.
Why?
I don't know.
I got internet. I'm on Instagram. But I even got TikTok. What's up? They don't just ban you at 40, you know.
Good to know.
Yeah.
All right, Kellie, it's on you.
All right, church announcements. So, to find us on Instagram, you can find us at The Worst Ones PK. And then in order to listen to us, watch us, engage with us, in terms of the podcast, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you find your podcast, and make sure to type in The Worst Ones Podcast. When you get there, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. As usual, we thank our 500,500,000 followers. We love you.
Followers.
I just like you as a friend.
We love you. At Princess Kells 51, I've decided that it's going to stay private.
I knew she was full of shit.
Oh,
I knew it.
But I will accept people. At first, I wasn't accepting anyone. But I will accept people. And this conversation has further confirmed that my Instagram is going to stay private.
You know, lies make baby Jesus cry. You know that, right?
I never lied. I said I was debating.
No, I think I remember you saying it was going open.
Oh, me.
Wow.
Yeah, coffee check. Wake up.
Right.
Well, you can find me at Melanated Brews for all things coffee, tea, and beer. We have fun over there. And you can find me on my personal page at JBrianna_. That's it.
Terry Wayne Comedy, all social media platforms, except for TikTok, because I do have it, but I don't put out nothing. I know my role, and it's not on an app where teenagers dance for a living.
All right.
Check me out for all upcoming show dates, stand-up and otherwise.
Okay.
That's it. What do you want? What do you want from me?
I thought you were done the first time, and then you went back. So I just want to make
because you didn't say anything. So I was like, I guess I'll fill more dead air.
Yeah, I wanted to give you some just a little space before I step on your toes.
Announcements ever.
At Rudy of All Trades, my personal page on all social medias: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Cash App is just with a $sign. At Rudy of All Trades. Cash App, yes.
Yeah, I'm saying, let me put my Cash App.
Right, I'm saying, like, how do you get the money from the Cash
We've
App?
officially started begging now.
Did we need to get a worse one's PK Cash App because it can't just go to you?
Well, I mean, y'all had y'all turn to do y'all. I didn't give nobody limitations on what you could say. Okay.
Did you say this Cash App last week when I was gone, or is this something new?
This is new.
This is new.
It's called the Worst Ones PK Cash App. You would not publicize Rudy of All Trades.
No, what I'm saying is, but Rudy
of All Trades, if he wants to.
Rudy of All Trades is my handle on everything, including Cash App. So all I'm saying is, you want to follow me or either way.
I'll tell you what. Kelly, you can put your Cash App on here when your Instagram goes open.
Princess Scales 51.
No, I said
one L.
I said when it's public.
At the podcast official page, that is the once a month live podcast that I host on Zoom. If you want to join, we do it the last Monday of every month, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Zoom ID is 815-499-0955. That is all. That is it. Well, I was going to put up the interested sponsors thing, but I guess y'all ready to go. So, thank you guys for listening, watching, praying for us. Until next time.
Top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah.